Hey, shalom, shalom. First off, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, the men, women, and children that are predestined to receive salvation and to be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel. Yahweh is the Heavenly Father's true name in the ancient Hebrew, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Israelites. And Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son, the Savior and Redeemer of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It's the brother Tazawam. I just wanted to, touch on this video. All right, it's about 8 minutes long. I'm going to play the whole thing because, what they're talking about goes right into prophecy. Okay, as the title reads, is from CBS News. It came out about 6 days ago. Our brother put it in our group chat, but the Spirit, had me. I wanted to do a video on it earlier, but the Spirit had me, go into it right now. It says religious-based coronavirus vaccine conspiracies circulating on social media. And there is a heavy push to get anything, that is speaking or questioning or talking against the the vaccine. All right. Even so much so that I don't know if they say it in this actual video, but there was another video where I heard that Facebook actually bans the term "mark of the beast." All right. Somebody, like I said, it was a video that somebody was on there. They said that so these big tech companies, they're doing a heavy push on censorship, which brothers have been witnessing themselves. All right, my first 2 pages right now are striked, and I can't upload to them. So I'm uploading right now to my 3rd page. This page right here. The elder Taziawan, he had posted something up, and he made it unlisted so I could actually save it to my phone. But when I went to go save it, they actually took it down, and not only did they strike his page, well, they didn't even strike his page. They actually terminated his page. He didn't have any strikes on his page at all. And once again, the video that he had up wasn't even public. It was unlisted. So there's a heavy push, a heavy persecution against the truth being spoken. All right, and this is all according to prophecy, man, and this is all also going to lead ultimately into the the prophecy of the famine of the word, because the Lord has us, in this age. All right, the prophets always were commanded to go out and speak, the truth, and then it was prophesied that in these last days the Lord was going to actually use, the internet to have this word pushed out throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Okay, but as this word is going out, as the elect is being sealed, and the prophecies are, being fulfilled, now the Lord is taking the, and I can't even say slowly but surely anymore, but the Lord is now taking the availability and the frequency, all right, of the word, being put out on, on the internet. Okay, so this is the book of Amos, chapter 8, verse 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water," which, those things are also coming too, because that is a part of the end time prophecies. All right, famines, all right, pestilences. It says, but along with that, it's going to be what? But a hearing of the words of the Lord. And how do you hear the words of the Lord? Where you go to Amos chapter 3, verse 7, it says, "Surely Yahweh power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets." Okay, so the servants, the prophets, is who has the secrets, and they're the ones who the Lord has commanded to go out and speak this word. And also here in the book of where is it? Hosea. I believe it's Hosea, the 12th chapter. Yep, Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets." So this is how the Lord speaks, okay? He speaks through the prophets that he have set up, from the foundation of the earth. So now the prophets are speaking about the things that are going on in the world, all right? Speaking about the end time prophecies, mainly the mark of the beast, okay? The RFID chip, which is the RFID chip, but that right there in itself is becoming more and more demonized. Okay, it's becoming more and more. There's a lot of propaganda against speaking of the mark of the beast, and that right there, shows you that we're in these last days, man. You know, the whole vaccine and on all these things, they're having a very like I said, they're having a large campaign against taking down anything that goes against, anything that questions it, anything that speaks contrary to what their narrative is. So you had last week, you had a segment came out about self-proclaimed prophets that are out, and now you have this coming out about religious-based conspiracy vaccine, religious-based coronavirus vaccine conspiracies, and they're trying to get people to completely shun the idea, completely disregard it, completely, look at it as being foolish, look at it as being absurd, all right, to the point where a lot of people are going to be deluded, all right, the scripture tells you. Let me get that too before I play the clip, because the clip, it really speaks for itself. But I just wanted to get a couple scriptures before I actually play it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, it says this. It says, and for this cause, of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11, and for this cause power shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they might all be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. So, and who is bringing the delusions? Who is bringing the strong lie? Okay, it's the devil, all right, the deceiver, Esau, Edom. And we are out here, speaking truth, but they're trying to, suffocate that truth. They're trying to, silence that truth. But ultimately, you can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. You silencing the truth, you having the prophets not being able to go out there and freely teach. That's really just a witness to the point of the end of your age, okay? And it's a witness to the fact that the elect must be sealed, because the Lord is going to have the elect sealed, as it is written in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter. Okay, the elect is going to be sealed. So you doing all this scrambling and propaganda and narrative and trying to demonize the gospel and trying to demonize the truth. All right, ultimately you demonizing Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and His word. That is only going to backfire on you. Okay, so brothers get their channels striked. All right, brothers get their channels taken down. It gets frustrating, but at the end of the day, you have to remember, and you should rejoice in these things, because that is a token, a sign of we are at the end of this age. All right, and soon enough, we're not going to be able to speak on the internet, and ultimately we're not going to be able to go out there on the highways and byways, because it's going to get to a point where speaking what we're saying is going to be outlawed. Okay, it's going to be outlawed, and it's going to be deemed a public health risk. We're going to be deemed enemies of the state. All right, so you got to seek the Lord while He may be found, and call upon Him while He is near. So I get this, and I end it with this, and I'll play the clip. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places, which we are seeing happening right now. It says all these are the beginning of sorrows. So these things are the beginning of the tribulation, the anguish, the perilous times that we're entering into. Okay, the Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. Well, ultimately, that hour of temptation is going to be heightened when when the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, be mandated through the cryptocurrency. Okay, Elder Apostle Tahar has been going in on that a lot lately about how the cryptocurrency, you have these central bankers are the central bank, I should say, the central banks of the different nations. They're putting a lot of effort and energy and resources into CBDC, which is central bank digital currency. Okay, and that's all going to accumulate into the buying and selling through digitalization, which is going to be by way of the chip. So it says, and they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right, because once again, like I said, we're going to be looked at as being public enemies for speaking the truth and speaking against this, this system. So once again, I'm gonna play this, and I'll end it with this video, Lord willing. It'll be edifying, man, to the elect.
As President Biden's COVID-19 vaccine effort ramps up, religious-based conspiracy theories surrounding the vaccinations are exploding on social media. Some creators have been posting dramatic videos where they make false claims about the vaccine containing microchips or ingredients associated with the devil. Others often refer to masks and vaccines as an indication of a biblical symbol called the mark of the beast. Social media platforms have been able to ban a lot of this content, but it's become increasingly more difficult to enforce. For more on this, let's bring in Elizabeth Dwoskin. She's a Silicon Valley correspondent for The Washington Post. Hi there, Elizabeth. Thanks very much for being with us. So as we said, when it comes to this type of misinformation, a common theme is that these public health measures have to do with the, quote, mark of the beast. What more can you tell us about that?
It's like the mark of the beast is a term from the Bible, from Revelations, that refers to in the end times, the Antichrist will test Christians by giving them a mark. And what's interesting is over the last year, if you think about the tumult that has, been American society for the last year, many people are interpreting that as a sign of the end times. And so there has been misinformation circulating that there's a microchip in the vaccine. This is total misinformation, and it's a distortion of comments made by Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation. It's a total distortion. I explained it in the story. And so the way that the Bill Gates microchip storyline is now fusing with the Mark of the Beast storyline is people say that the microchip is the mark of the beast that will signal the end times.
And Elizabeth, why is this type of information so difficult to police?
And I'm going to laugh as I'm saying it, by the way. I know it sounds probably really out there to you. So what I'll say is, though, probably if you start talking to people, you'll find that a ton of people have someone in their family who believes this. And it's all over social media, which gets to the tech companies. The tech companies, it was very big on TikTok, this Mark of the Beast hashtags. As a result of some of my inquiries, they actually banned those hashtags. Facebook banned the Mark of the Beast terminology, they told me, in December. They weren't quite transparent about it at the time, but they say that they did. But it's been circulating over the last year, and particularly spiked on two incidents. One, when the vaccines received FDA approval in December, you saw a lot of conversation about this. And then last summer, Kanye West said that he believed the vaccine was the mark of the beast. And unfortunately, that kind of misinformation caused a spark in searches, Google searches and Facebook searches and conversations about the term. So you can really see how the impact of celebrities and civic leaders very much impacts the conversation that people are having.
And Elizabeth, you also write that some of these religious-themed conspiracies are linked to the QAnon movement. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so that's one of the most interesting parts about this, actually, is there was a report I saw in December from a misinformation analytics firm called Signal Labs. And they found 12,000 references to Mark of the Beast in terms like Luciferin, because the devil is 666, and people claim inaccurately that there is 666 in some of the compounds associated with the vaccine. Anyway, they picked up all this kind of chatter, like 12,000 mentions about this terminology across the internet, including a lot on Twitter. And if you remember, after the Capitol riot, Twitter took this really big action to crack down on QAnon. Now, step back. Twitter had claimed they had done a crackdown last summer. So I was surprised, as someone who covers this, to see that there was so much that still slipped through the cracks to where they had to have a second crackdown after the Capitol riot on January 6th. And what Signal saw is that when the QAnon accounts were banned and suspended from Twitter, those when they went back to try to find the Mark of the Beast and Luciferin and a lot of the extreme Christian conspiracy theories, they found that those statements were suspended because the accounts were being suspended, which suggests that there's a strong overlap between Trump supporting groups, Christian nationalism, and kind of fringe Christian conspiracy theories, and the QAnon conspiracy theory, which is a conspiracy theory that has been affiliated with violence, including at the Capitol riots.
So, Elizabeth, given this sort of misinformation landscape, or disinformation landscape, some might say, how are religious leaders actually responding to these types of extremist claims?
So this was like the most interesting part of the story, because if you search...
So I wanted to say one thing real quick, man, because I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, I did have a dream that, I got grabbed up and with, with people that was like, MAGA, all right, the MAGA country people. And, in the dream, I was like confused because I was like, I'm not, a MAGA, country. I'm not, one of these. When you think of MAGA country, you think of those, so-called Caucasians that are, patriotic and love America, basically nationalists, but they had grabbed me up also. So now when I'm listening to her speaking, she said they lumped, what do they call them? Nationalists. All right, MAGA, Trump supporting nationalist, and then she also said fringed, extreme Christian, Christian extremists, which they would because we use the Bible, because the Bible is our source of knowledge and what we are speaking out of, which is it's not Christian, but we are the true Christians, the Israelites, all right, but you have to understand that. This devil's plan is to have globalization is a globalist plan. So anybody who is a so-called patriarch, a patriot or a quote unquote MAGA, Trump or white nationalist, in the minds of the global of the elites, they are actually against their agenda. So a person being a nationalist is against the agenda of the elites. So you have to understand that they can lump us with them, not saying that we support or have the same ideas, but ultimately because we are not for the government of Esau, period. And these nationalists are only for a government of America. When you have the plan, just like in Antiochus, you have this plan that even in the scriptures, Revelation, that these elites have this plan that all shall be one. All right, all shall be one, no matter where you're at in the earth. Okay, so that's why they're lumping. And in my dream, that's what I after I woke up and I meditated on it. That's why I got that's the understanding that I got, that they're setting this whole stage up for the QAnon and the nationalists, the MAGA, MAGA country, all that ultimately, so they could just link us to this issue of being, as they call us, BIE, Black Identity Extremists, all right, or they also say Black separatists, all right, which is no such thing as that either. But ultimately, they're going to link that up and use that as a catalyst to say that we are, a threat. We are, once, like I said earlier, we're a threat, or we're, a hazardous public health risk, and so on and so forth. But you can see that these devils, man, and the talk of scriptures, because we're going out there and we're prophesying, the Lord is working, that the talk of these end time prophecies, the mark of the beast, all these things is becoming more and more prevalent, man, because we're getting very, very close to the end of this age. So I'll finish this up.
Terms like mark of the beast, like when I was researching the story, if you search terms like mark of the beast online right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you're going to find a huge amount of conversation in both directions within religious communities. So one of the top videos that I found was a video by a pastor in Riverside, California. It has over 200,000 views, and he's asking, is the COVID vaccine the mark of the beast? And he says, here's why he thinks it's not. He refutes the idea. He's a mega church pastor. Another woman I spoke with was an epidemiologist at a Christian university in Texas, and she is married to a Baptist pastor as well. And she has a really popular Facebook page where she talks all about COVID from the perspective of a scientist and also as a Christian. And she also is finding that there's a host, tens of thousands of people are part of this Facebook group. So this is like a very, very active discussion online about this. And she found that a lot of people were bringing up things like mark of the beast and saying, if you take the vaccine, it doesn't mean that you have faith in God. That's what she said, that there's this strain of belief out there that if you take the vaccine, you're somehow weak, and it means you don't trust God.
You see that? There's some strain of belief out there. She's talking about us, man. Okay, because who's blowing up the social media, especially particularly YouTube, with the concept of having faith in the Lord, all right, and trusting in the Lord to heal you and deliver you and keep you, which is all scriptural. All right, who's putting that out there? These pastors and theological scholars and ministers, they're all advocating for people to trust in science and trust in the system. So that strain of belief that she just mentioned, it's more than likely, all right, I believe it is what it is. She's talking about us, man. Okay, because we're the ones that's pushing this out there so frequently, so consistently. Nobody else is doing that, man. No other belief system, I should say, is doing that besides the Israelites.
And then you see that going into this influencer community online on like TikTok. Like you see all
and of course they show Jake getting it, right?
Young Christians basically reenacting scenes where they take the vaccine and they die and their faces are covered with blood and there's music playing in the background. They're like music videos. And so what you really see is a very like robust conversation online from all the spectrums. And that's why it's actually a very sensitive topic for tech companies, because we know that one of the best ways to combat misinformation is to hear about to hear counter arguments within your own community. And so you don't want to cut out the counter arguments too. You want to have the counter arguments up. And you also don't want people to feel they're censored. And I talked to a lot of people who were posting on this content who said that they were just raising questions and their stuff got taken down. And that brings up this issue of how hard it is for the technology companies, how basically they're just terrible at understanding the nuance in these kinds of conversations. The difference between a person raising a question innocently, a person raising a question, but whose goal is to really put out misinformation. The intent is really important. How do you discern intent? Or people who are raising the question to refute. It's like one of the hardest areas of misinformation to police.
Yeah, I mean, what you're spelling out, Elizabeth, is really just, it's so complex.
It's one of the hardest areas to police, right? So what are they going to end up doing? They're going to end up having it to where anything that is said that is not governmentally approved, then it's not going to be able to be, posted. Okay? And clearly everything that we're talking about, because we're talking about the kingdom of heaven, which goes completely adverse to the kingdom of this world, is not going to be approved by the powers that be. So that right there shows you, man, that they're rapidly moving toward the famine of the word.
Made even more so because we are all consuming information in the midst of a pandemic, where conversations that you might normally have, for instance, in person over a cup of coffee, are now having to take place largely online, where, as you note, it is very, very difficult to sort of moderate a lot of that content. Really fascinating piece. Elizabeth Dwoskin. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, so it's just they're talking about it's hard to moderate, and that's why so much censorship is happening throughout social media, man. But I end it there. Lord willing, it's edifying unto the elect. Stay diligent, stay watching. Until next time, shalom.